love, exciting and new.
Hello, Hannah Waddingham here. Have you seen the fabulous new Sun Princess? World-class entertainment, exceptional dining, and the greatest pizza ever.
It's a love.
Don't miss our Come Aboard sale with up to 40% off and free room upgrades. Visit princess.com or call your travel advisor to book. Princess Cruises. Terms and restrictions apply. Offer ends 2/28/25. Ships are Bermudan and British Registry.
This episode is brought to you by Abercrombie. Build your fits of the day with Abercrombie's newest denim drop. Here's where to start. Abercrombie's 90s straight jean goes with any shirt from tees to sweater polos. Super versatile. Their loose and baggy jeans are more trend forward, so you can grab those and go out with your friends. Abercrombie's denim fits come in a range of washes. Build your looks around Abercrombie denim. Shop online or in store.
The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
And good morning to everyone. Welcome to the Saturday edition of No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are proudly presented by the Belly Up Sports Media Network. My name is Ryan McCarthy. I'm one of your hosts. And to my right is a man who recently said no to Chicago Bears head coaching for their vacant head coaching position, Dustin Henry. Dustin, how are you doing today?
I had to turn him down, because I know they wanted to reach out to Pete Carroll. I said I can't bulldoze Pete like that. If he still wants to coach, he deserves a shot. And I knew they were going to be reaching out to Mike McCarthy, even though I know no relation, Ryan. I know he is a close personal friend, so I didn't want to do one of your friends like that. And most importantly, the Bears apparently tried to reach out to Mike Tomlin and the Steelers about the possibility of trading for Mike Tomlin. And he said effectively, don't waste your time. Tomlin is staying in Pittsburgh. I predict it right now. The Rooneys are not going to fire him. That's it. Schefter reported that the Bears are reaching out to trade for him, and one mystery team supposedly also inquired about the availability of Tomlin's services, but he's not leaving Pittsburgh. Sorry, everybody. But on that note, good morning, Ryan. Happy to be here with you. And I just want to say at the top of the show, I know I've said it before, but it's real. Sometimes when I got stuff going on in life that I'm not really looking forward to or I'm not super jazzed about, this is something I'm always jazzed about. Thrilled to be here this morning with you. And for anybody watching and listening, we hope we can do the same way. We'd like to help you through tough times with this podcast. We hope to bring you a little bit of laughter along the way with a touch of sports knowledge and increasingly a lot more talk about food, which I am here for.
Yes, absolutely. Well, before we get into everything, we just want to remind you, got some business to take care of. I don't know if you've ever watched the YouTube channel Doug in the Business.
I have not watched this.
So it's a guy who's got 4 cats. He's got 4 orange cats. He's got 3 orange cats. One's like a black and white cat. Black and white cat's name is Doug, and he's like the boss.
Okay,
because they wear collars with a tie.
Nice.
It's hysterical. It's like, what are you doing, guys? We're doing business. I'll send you the video. Actually, I'll find this short. It's hysterical. But
all right.
In the meantime, we have some business to take care of. Follow us on social media: Facebook.com/NoCredsREQ, Twitter and Instagram @NoCredsREQ, and YouTube.com/NoCredsREQ. Also, check us out on BellyUpSports.com, and also subscribe to the podcast wherever you find podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify. I can't talk today. Spreaker, Amazon Music, iHeart, TuneIn, and Pandora. And don't forget to get yourself notified on Twitter and on YouTube. That way you know when live videos go up, or clips of the show go up, or just general show announcements go up for this podcast. Rate, review, comment. This is a live show, Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern. We'll be back on Tuesday time to be determined.
Oh,
trying to figure things out with the new transitions, which are coming soon. So, but we'll figure it out in the meantime. But rate and review, comment on the podcast side. Give us a 5-star rating. If you're on a platform where you can review, leave us a nice review. If you're on Spotify and you're subscribed, leave a comment. Also, we're a live show. Also, if you're watching on replay, leave a comment as well. And Dustin, I happen to notice on my watch that doesn't exist. It's a particular time of the day.
well, I think the battery on mine stopped, but or my watch has stopped, but it's still. I think it stopped on chime time.
It's chime time. All right, in this particular episode, it's episode number 5 of the year 2025, which is divisible by 5, interestingly enough. We've been talking about our favorite athletes to ever wear a certain number. So we started the new year with the number 1. Now we're up to number 5. Mm-hmm. So some pretty interesting athletes that we used to watch when we were younger, in our younger days, who we were fans of. So I'm gonna have, as always, Dustin, gonna have you lead it off with your your favorite athlete to wear the number 5.
You know, this one, nothing really stuck out to me when I first started researching it and looking. And you know, sometimes like if you watched my appearance on the what was it, the 1420 Sports Bar podcast?
Yes,
with Brett Redlinsky, you know who my number 11 is going to be. Anybody that watched that, you know who my number 11 is going to be. But 5 was not one of those numbers. It's not one of those ones that stuck out. So I was thinking, and you know what? I came upon Albert Pujols. One Albert Pujols. And because I always liked Albert, he was one of those guys that I did always kind of root for, even though he was on the Cardinals. I just felt like he just seemed like a classy guy. Mm-hmm. And I love the way he carried himself. And also, guess what? He's a great hitter. Hitter. Like
home run hitter.
Yeah. Great home run hitter, but also his batting average, if memory serves, and I'm doing this right off the dome, he could hit for power, obviously, but also for average. He was not like one of these guys like, and I'm not doing this to throw shade, but David Ortiz, it's true. He was a golf ball hitter. He either knocked it out of the park or he struck out, except against the Yankees. Love him or hate him, Ortiz was clutch against the Yankees, but Albert Pujols was not like that from my memory. And I just always thought, like, you know, he's a big star and stuff, but he was always kind of like big star in a smaller market. I am not going to sit here and call St. Louis a small market because it's not.
No, it isn't.
But it's like it had a smaller feel, Ryan, if you would agree with me there. Like the Cardinals, they're like, they have a feel of a different era of baseball. They're one of the organizations that, unless you're a Cubs fan or something else, you just kind of like the Cardinals. You know, their fans can be a little like, hey, we know the most about baseball of anybody. But every fan base has some, you know, some of that stuff going on. But Albert, just always with the way he carried himself, obviously a great hitter. And you know, Angels fans might have something to say. I mean, Dr. Lady will, you know, we get her thoughts on it, but
she ain't watching. This is football.
Yeah,
she ain't watching.
His time with the Angels, yeah, the beginning of it was okay, but he never really found his footing in Anaheim, and everyone thought he was done. But he kind of had a mini rebirth with the Dodgers. The Dodgers signed him, and they said, "Hey, do you want to see?" We kind of want to see if he could still play. And guess what? He could a little bit. You know, he could a little bit. He still had something left in the tank. But I just really like the way the numbers speak for themselves with Albert Pujols. And he also just I like the way he carried himself, and I always enjoyed watching him. And that's a big part of this list for us. So even though nobody jumped off the page, when I started researching number 5s, I said to myself, you know what? Albert's my pick. I really liked Albert a lot of times.
I would have thought you would have gone down the Mavericks road again with Jason Kidd.
Jason Kidd, I thought about it. I thought about it
too, honestly.
Yeah. Well, his time in New Jersey, of course you would have.
Yes,
of course you would have.
Yes.
But I thought about it. But there's a part of me that didn't want to go. Didn't want to go down the Mavericks road twice. And also, I watched Jason Kidd more in his second stint with the Mavs because he was drafted. He was drafted by the Mavs and gave one of the best interview quotes of all time where he said he was going to turn the franchise around 360 degrees. Well, if you do that, Jason, you're going to be in the same spot.
I mean, technically he did with Jason Jackson that whole time in Dallas when they had in his first stint in Dallas when that team was pretty good.
They had Jamal Mashburn, Kidd,
Jason Jackson, but they never had it. They never got along inside and outside the locker room. That was the problem.
Yeah.
And that's what and then Kidd got traded to Phoenix. They got traded to New Jersey and had those two runs where they unfortunately ran into better teams like the Lakers and the San Antonio Spurs. He went back to Dallas, and now he's coaching head Jimmy Jackson.
And I think weirdly enough, yes, he's coaching the Mavs. I think he's a great coach too. I think he got a raw deal in Milwaukee, but I think it worked out because now we have him.
There you go.
But if I remember correctly, Ryan, I think Jason Kidd also wore like number 2 in his second stint with Dallas. I'm trying to remember because I feel like he switched numbers, which brings up an interesting point. This was your idea, and you and I are kind of making the rules, but like hypothetically, could I pick, and I'm not saying I'm going to do this, but hypothetically, could I pick Kobe Bryant for number 8 and then again at 24 because he changed his jersey?
True.
Could that happen?
And you are absolutely right. He did wear number 5 with Dallas and from 95 to 97, but then he wore number 32 with the Phoenix Suns.
Okay.
Then he was traded to New Jersey, wore number 5. Then you were right. His second stint with Dallas from 2008 to 2012, he wore number 2.
Yeah.
And his last year with the Knicks, he wore number 5.
Mm-hmm.
So, but Albert Pujols, it's a great pick. It's an outstanding pick. And by the way, one of only 4 men to eclipse 700 home runs lifetime, and it happened in our lifetime. We get to see it.
Yes,
which was cool. Yes, Hank Aaron. We saw Barry Bonds do it too, surpassing 700. Well, there's a lot of question behind it, but again, remember, folks, those steroids didn't hit those home runs. Barry Bonds did.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Steroids. We have said it. Steroids, it's a complicated issue, but steroids, yes, they helped with recovery and they helped you lift more, but they can't help your bat speed. They can't help your hand-eye coordination.
No.
Love them or hate them, Barry Bonds hit those home runs.
And I remember writers accusing Albert Pujols of the same thing. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
They had that. I think I remember he had that test done, the same kind of coordination test that they gave to Babe Ruth, and his numbers were comparable.
Yeah. No, he's ridiculous. And like you said, Ryan, I think he did it largely, and I don't want to say he was a forgotten man, but because he wasn't in New York or LA, you really he wasn't everywhere. He had endorsements, he had deals, but by my memory, he wasn't everywhere. But he also just kind of kept it under the radar as you could when you're one of the best hitters in baseball. Because I remember a particular run in 2001 with the Cardinals. I think that might have been shortly after his rookie year. I can't remember his timeline.
That was his rookie year, 2001.
Okay.
Hit 37 home runs and had 329 batting average. He's got a 296 lifetime batting average.
Yeah. He hits for average, people, not just power.
That's right. He's a 5-tool player. Well, he didn't really steal too many bases. You didn't see him.
No, he's not going to do
You didn't
that.
see him going on the base paths very much, trying to steal bases. My favorite number 5. This is I'm going a little old school here, Dustin.
Okay, yeah.
Because I watched him growing up too. If you remember if you ever watched the highlights of this is before you were born, the Pine Tar incident.
Oh
Yankee
man,
Stadium, 1983. But that's not the reason why he's my favorite athlete to wear number 5.
Is it the story he tells where he was mic'd up at spring training, talking to younger Royals about an accident he had after eating too many oysters or something?
No, it's not. But George Brett, my favorite athlete to wear the number 5. Interestingly enough, when he started his career in 1973, he did not wear the number 5. He wore number 25. He wore number 25 from 1973 to 1974. In 1975, that's when he started to wear the number 5. Played third and first base, and was one of the best average hitters lifetime. 305 lifetime average. Not a power hitter. He hit 317 home runs, but he had 665 doubles, 3,154 hits overall. One of the men who broke out the 3,000 hit mark.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I can't remember how many baseball players on the 3,000 club. Let me just look that up real quick. How many?
Well, infamously, we all know, thanks to that lovely senator during the steroid hearing, that Rafael Palmieri
33
is part of the 3,000 hit club. That guy was like Rafael Palmieri with his 300th hit. I'm like, oh my God. I did watch those trials. I watched them, everybody.
Oh my gosh.
Rafael Palmieri.
Rafael Palmieri.
That's the
This is how you know your elected officials are not the brightest people in the ball.
yeah.
But yeah, George Brett he won a World Series. He won MVP. He actually won 2 World Series. He went to 2 World Series. 1981, 1982 was it 8th? So it was 82. 82 with the Royals when they lost to the Phillies. Or was it 83? I can't remember off the top of my head. But
yeah,
he did go to the 85. He did win the 1995 World Series. Also won ALCS MVP. He was won Gold Glove, 13-time All-Star, 3-time batting title winner. He was 3-time Silver Slugger. So this guy could hit. He did hit for average, but he was an effective hitter. He was also in the midst of that Royals Yankees rivalry in the mid 70s when those two were going back and forth, particularly 76 and 77 and 78. When they went when the 76 and 77 during the ALCS, where those were heated. Those were heated. But yeah, I mean, George Brett was, as a kid, I admired him because he was a great hitter, great fielder too, a pretty decent fielder. So, but can't remember off the top of my head when they went to the World Series. I want to say, I know it was 85. Cardinals fans don't watch. Cardinals fans have a lot of animosity towards from that 1985 World Series. But yeah, he was one of the greatest hitters of all time. One of only 33 baseball players to ever hit 3,000 hits. Mm-hmm. And yeah, just a great hitter and a great fielder, great baseball player overall.
So when they lost to the Phillies, is that the series you were thinking of?
I was thinking maybe it was 1980.
That's 1980. Yep.
That's what I thought. Because
I did some real-time research. They lost to the Phillies in 1980.
Yeah, because it was Phillies, Dodgers, Phillies in 80, Dodgers in 81, Cardinals in 82, Orioles in 83, Tigers, Royals, Mets, Twins, Dodgers, A's.
Oh man, you went on a run. You went on a run there. That's pretty impressive. That's pretty
Encyclopedia
impressive, everybody.
Britannica strikes again.
I know. I will say that is one of the best nicknames I've ever given you.
Thank you. Thank you. Got a variety of them. All right, let's go to the comments. Before we go to hot food takes, let's go to the comments. The pink hand of Sapna appearing. Sports ball. Mike Patton joining us for the first time. He says Donovan, his favorite athlete to number 5 was Donovan McNabb.
You know, I thought of Donovan too.
Yeah.
I did think of Donovan.
War number 5.
Syracuse's own.
Yep. War number 5 at Syracuse and for the Philadelphia Eagles. Mm-hmm. Doesn't get a lot of respect, though.
No.
It didn't come up in conversation of elite quarterbacks from the 2000s.
Yeah.
We always think of the Tom Brady's. We always think of the Aaron Rodgers. We always think of different quarterbacks. But Donovan McNabb, man, that guy could play.
Oh, yeah, he could. And I think he's a victim of that was really when, with the exception of 2004, because they did, and it's largely because they acquired Terrell Owens. But the Eagles were that team of the early 2000s, late 90s that they just couldn't get over the hump. They would get as far as like the NFC Championship game, and they had that rivalry with Tampa Bay when Tampa had that great defense, with Sapp and Derek Brooks and all those guys there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that Donovan's a little bit of a victim of that.
Yeah. Mike goes on to say, you're right in terms of St. Louis not being a small market. This is my Cubs fan. I respect him, but I don't like him. Mm-hmm. That's okay. Yeah, it's a rivalry. It's another rivalry right there.
Yeah.
Mike also says Jimmy Patton and Jason Kidd were both dating or going after Tony Braxton. I remember that. That. Yeah. That caused some issues with team chemistry. Yes, indeed it did. Julie from Michigan joining us. She says, hello, gentlemen. Hello. She says, David Montgomery, number 5 for the Detroit Lions.
How did we know you would pick a Lions pick? There we go.
I'm surprised she didn't say Hank Greenberg, but she wasn't around to say Hank Greenberg. So, honorable number 4 from our last episode. Honorable mention for number 4 for me. Okay. Paul Molitor. Oh,
that's a great pick.
I had to meet Paul Molitor too.
Oh, nice.
He's a great dude. Mike says it goes on to say George Brett was going to make contact. That's for sure. And Sick Diggy joining us from Norway says good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Thanks, Siggy. Thanks, Sick Diggy, for joining us. All right. It's time for Saturday staple. No pun intended. Hot food takes. I'm still worried about that burger, man. There's just too much bounce in that burger.
Oh, yeah. Lots of physics going on there. Every time I think the bun's just going to fly right off.
I know. All right. This edition of Hot Food Takes, potato chip power ranking.
Ooh.
Now, I didn't say. Now, Dustin and I got back and forth in private text about which kind of ideas we're going to have going forward for hot food takes, because I was trying to figure them out. And one of us happened to mention potato chips. We're like, all right, do we do a fatal 4-way? Do we just do power rankings? Like, what do we do here? So I'm just going to kind of throw it out there with potato chips. We'll just do like a quick power ranking.
Okay, yeah.
And then just a caveat: this is potato chips only. This is not Doritos. This is not Cheetos. This is not any other chip, or like tortilla chips. This is strictly potato chips.
Yeah.
So, my number 4. I still do a power. So I'll say 4 of them. So number 4, Lay's.
Okay.
Growing up, it was either. For lunchtime, we had either Ruffles or Doritos at the dinner at the lunch table. Mm-hmm. Never really Lay's. I'm a big fan. I like the Ridges. I'm not a big fan of the smooth potato chips. Even though, fun fact, potato chips were invented in Saratoga, New York.
Oh, the Saratoga potato chip.
That's right. So number 4 is Lay's, because it's just. I mean, it's okay, but it's just there's too much small. Like the thinly sliced potatoes, like they get brittle very quickly, and you don't feel like you get enough chip for what you bought. Number 3, Pringles. I like the stacks, but they run out too quickly. They're addictive. Too addictive.
Oh yeah.
Number 2, I guess this would be regional to this area, particularly the Northeast. And I don't know how you pronounce it, Dustin. But I pronounce them oots.
Oh yeah, that's what
potato chip.
That's what I do. Oots.
Because whenever I get them, I make the nightclub noise.
Yeah, yeah, the techno symbol.
We got the store.
There we go. There we go. I used to say uts to piss people off.
I don't know how it's pronounced. I just say oots, but it could be uts. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's oots. I think it's oots.
I think the same company that produces Snyder's of Hanover. So if there are any Pennsylvanians in the chat, let us know how you pronounce the potato chip company properly. Number 1 in my potato chip power rankings, Ruffles, because Ruffles have ridges, and ridges are delicious.
I will say for dipping, Ruffles are the best pick because they're the ones that are going to hold up. Yep. You know how somebody brings regular Lay's to a party and then like has a dip, like that's not happening. You're gonna try to dip into the French onion. The Lay's is gonna snap in half right away.
You got that right. Wavy Lay's, yeah, but that's just Lay's on steroids.
Yeah.
Although they are delicious too.
They are. You know, Ryan, this might be based on the 4 brands that you threw out there. This might be one of the closest that we agree on things. Now, Lay's, caveat for me, but I would also put Lay's at number 4 because we're not talking. We didn't specify flavors here. So another thing that I did is I went with just the original flavor. Right. Because if we're talking Lay's sour cream and onion, that's going to be near the top for me. Yeah. But we're not talking Lay's sour cream and onion.
No. Or the cheddar cheese from Pringles.
Oh yeah. No, I mean those would be right up there.
Good.
Or the cheddar and sour cream. That's another underrated flavor. I love that
salt
flavor.
And pepper.
Especially in the Ruffles variety.
Salt and pepper, barbecue. Mm-hmm. Some people like the dill pickle ones. I'm not, hey, that's your thing. I'm not a big fan of dill pickle, but that's okay. You can do you.
Yeah. But I am going to throw out. So my number 4 also would be Lay's. They are at the bottom. They are at the bottom for me for a lot of the reasons that you mentioned. They get very greasy. They break apart easily. So the bottom of the bag is nothing but nothing but crumbs. I'm gonna go number 3 for me. I'm gonna throw a brand of chip that you didn't throw on here. I'm gonna throw Cape Cod on there.
Ooh,
I like the kettle cooked for something a little different, something that holds up a little. They got some nice flavors. I like the dark russet variety of that. But again, we're not doing flavors, so I had to stay away from that. So I'm putting Cape Cod at number 3. I like a good Cape Cod chip every once in a while.
Okay.
And that means that we were not a Ruffles house growing up. So I didn't have as much experience with Ruffles. So I'm going off of the chips that I grew up with mostly. I'm putting Pringles at number 2. Pringles are amazing. Pringles are amazing, but to me, they're kind of like their own thing. And like you said, Ryan, I can go through a can like that. They don't last enough. And also, I'm not the smartest tool in the shed, or not the brightest tool, the sharpest tool in the shed sometimes, as illustrated by my troubles. I used to hate as a kid reaching into the Pringles can to try to grab the chips at the top because you could never just take one. You're always taking a stack out, and then I'm just shoving them in my mouth like a heathen. and then I would get to the bottom and I'd dump them out, and like half the stack would come out. So then I'm like, well, now I got to eat all these.
Exactly.
So I'm demoting Pringles to number 2 just for my personal struggles. And also, my mom used to say they, quote unquote, taste different. She was right. I love the taste, but they don't taste like a traditional potato chip. They do something different, but I love it. Pringles, number 2. Number 1 for me, this was a fight. Like I said, Ridges, Ruffles is a relatively new addition to my life. We ate them growing up, but it was mostly exclusively for dipping purposes. So I was never really savoring the flavor of the actual chip. So my number 1 is the aforementioned Oots. Was it because I watched a lot of Yankee games as a kid? Maybe. No, not so much as a kid. I think Oots became a sponsor late, probably when I was in high school around the advent of the Yes Network. But yeah, Oots is my number one. I like their chip. It was a struggle to figure out whether Pringles was going to be number one or possibly Cape Cod, but Lay's is firmly at number 4. Number 3 is Cape Cod. Number 2 is Pringles. Number 1 is Oots. And let me just say, for anyone that grew up with Wise potato chips, I'm sorry. Okay, they're a ripoff. Wise makes some other good snacks, but their regular potato chip, it can't even be it. If there was an option to put in 100, that's where I'd put Wise, okay? And half the mini bags, the delis out there, stop getting Wise. Because when I get a great sandwich and I see the Wise chips, super disappointed. Because then I open the bag. I got a bag years ago. It was just air. There was nothing in the Wise bag. Nothing. So I couldn't even.
That's sad.
Wise are terrible.
And that has been this edition of Hot Food Takes. Ending on a really sad note. Quickly go to the comments. Julie says Hank Greenberg was before my time. Before our time, too.
Yeah.
But he's one of the great hitters of the 1930s. She also says, good call on Pringles. Those things are lethal. And she also says, you and my mom has the same number 1, Ryan. We have a Ruffles household. You're GD right. All right. Before we get into football, before we take a commercial break, we can get into football. Yesterday, Roki Sasaki, one of the highly coveted Japanese pitchers on the market this year, this offseason, announced on Instagram that he was signing with the Los Angeles Dodgers. How surprised are you, Dustin?
Not very. 1, they have money. 2, and this is the part that nobody really talked about. This is an added benefit of, aside from the fact that he is very good at baseball, perhaps one of the greatest that we will ever see once he hangs it up. But the other thing that the Dodgers did when they signed Shohei Ohtani is they opened up a conduit to Japan. They opened up any Japanese pitcher that comes over will have a built-in teammate that speaks their language and understands the culture and can help them transition to the U.S. So I think that's kind of an unspoken thing. The Mariners tried to do the same thing in 2001-ish with Ichiro Suzuki. They tried to use him to kind of, I mean, I don't want to say use in like a disparaging way, but
no, I get it.
But they used him as a factor to try to get a handle on the Japanese market for baseball. And also the Mariners' connection with Nintendo back in the day, Japanese company. But, I feel like the Dodgers have the perfect combination to get the highly sought after Japanese players because they have the money and they have Shohei. So I was not surprised to see that he signed with the Dodgers at all. And you can call me a bitter Yankee fan if you want, but the Yankees take so much crap for being, they sign everybody. They sign everybody. The Dodgers have taken over that role now. The Dodgers are signing everyone. So I don't want to hear any of that used to, this almost pisses me off more than the people that used to claim like Boston was some small market. Oh, the Yankees always sign everyone out from under us. You're one of the highest payrolls in baseball too, Boston. Get out of here. All right. So, but I am not surprised in the least. And I'm excited to see what he can do, because I'll be candid. I did not know much about this player's career prior to this news breaking. So I'm excited to see what he can do. But I think another added benefit of the Shohei signing is there is a conduit to Japan. He probably still has friends there. He probably still knows who some of the great players are. And I think this is just the first example of that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was not surprising at all. This banner is mostly for sarcastic purposes.
Yeah.
So sarcasm heavily implied here. And yeah, you're right. The Dodgers have a conduit with Shohei Ohtani to bring in more Japanese players. I have a conspiracy theory. I'm putting my tinfoil hat on here.
Oh, all right.
I think the Dodgers are trying to sign the entire roster from the 2022 Major League the Baseball Classic Japan team that won the whole dang thing.
Oh man.
Yeah. So and by the way, the Dodgers started this whole they sign everybody thing. They're the ones who were the first ones to or the richer contracts in baseball. See Kevin Brown, 1998.
Yeah, that was a huge deal.
The first $100 million year. The first $100 million contract, excuse me. So, yeah, this is the least surprising signing of the offseason. You as soon as Sasaki announced he was being a free agent, you knew he's like, oh, come on, this is a no-brainer. This is a slam dunk. And as soon as we heard the Padres say, yeah, we're out, because apparently the Padres were looking to get him, the Mets were looking to utilize his services. I wouldn't have been surprised if the Yankees try to utilize his services, but they tried to get Yamamoto last year, and that didn't work out. So yeah, this was an easy pick for him because he's already got two teammates from that team, from the 2022 World Baseball Classic team, and he's already got teammates there. I'm kind of comparing them to the Click in WWE.
Oh man, the Click.
Kevin Nash, Shawn Michaels, Scott Hall,
Sean
Paul Levesque,
Waltman.
aka Sean Waltman, and Paul Levesque, aka Triple H. Yeah,
and
they're
for
some reason,
and for some reason, Justin Credible, aka Aldo Montoya, in his time in the WWF, he was in the Click, man. I'm like, how did he get in?
He was never in the special. All right, we're gonna get actually one more comment before we get out of here. Julie from Michigan saying it's true. The Dodgers essentially buy their way into being a powerhouse. Don't tell Dr. Lady I said that. Pretty sure she would wear that with a badge of honor.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna take our network mandated commercial break. When we come back, we're gonna talk NFL finally. We're gonna talk about the divisional playoff. 4 games this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. But we'll talk about them right after this word. Stand by. Stay tuned for more No Credentials Required. This episode of No Credentials Required is brought to you by Invader Coffee. For the coffee lover who wants good, quality coffee with no bullshit and no filler, Invader Coffee is an ultra-premium, veteran-owned coffee company proudly delivering only the best coffee your hard-earned money can buy. They aim to only serve the highest quality, organic, air-roasted coffee beans sourced from free trade farms all over the world. They keep things simple. The best coffee at an affordable price in order to provide you with the value you deserve for your morning boost. 100% fair trade, 100% organic coffee beans, 100% air roasted, 100% money back guarantee. Visit invadercoffee.com, enter promo code BELLYUP at checkout, and receive 15% off your order. Thank you, handsome voiceover man. Invader Coffee. It's the only coffee that goes in this cup on Saturday mornings. Like they've been an affiliate sponsor with us for pretty much every year since we brought this podcast back into form. Great coffee, air roasted coffee, none of that acidity, none of that bitterness that you usually get in the coffee. I drink it black. I drink it straight black because it's that good. And they got a wide variety of flavors out. Unfortunately, they just ended their seasonal blends. I never got to try I never got to get a chance to get the Bad Santa. But Jolly Java is still available. Jolly Java is out there. They've also got the regular blends like the original blend, the holiday blend, St. Patrick's Day blend, the Lucky Bee Irish whiskey blend is there. They have their other blends like the Black Heart blend, which is the espresso, Breaking Case Emergency, Don't Cali My Texas, and they have their seasonal for Valentine's Day, the Chocolate Lust blend. Now available in whole beans, so get it while you can.
Oh, okay. All right.
So what you're going to do is you're going to visit the link in the description, which is our affiliate link, which is for Invader Coffee, invadercoffee.com. Veteran owned. Do you love your country? Of course you do. Do you love your veterans and what they've done? Of course you do. Support a veteran owned business by going to our link in the description on YouTube and on Facebook and in our podcast feed. Get yourself some coffee, put it in your basket, promo code BELLYUP at checkout, get 15% off your order, save a little bit on shipping, but it'll come quickly. It'll be in your house in a matter of days, not in a matter of weeks. It'll be fresh roasted or fresh ground, however you prefer it. I get mine whole bean because I like to grind the beans myself. Put it in my French press.
There you go, the French press. I was in a little bit of a rush this morning, Ryan. So and also the Bad Santa that I did get was only available in pre-ground, so I used my Keurig this morning. I have the reusable K cups, but this is what's in this cup, and I'm going to go get some Jolly Java after the show, and I'm going to use the code because I didn't try Jolly Java this year, and I'm going to go grab it because I remember it being very good. And I'm interested about this Black Heart blend. I think that's one of the only ones that I have not sampled yet, so maybe I have to get that. And I'll also check to see if the K cups are available in their OG blend again, because sometimes I like to bring those to the office, change it up a little bit from a company that rhymes with Bleen Blounton. But in my mind, Invader is vastly superior coffee. Try it. You won't be disappointed. You're going to like it. Like Ryan said, one of the longest sponsors we've had on the show. We love that they're here. We'll continue to have them. We love the product. We know you will too. Use the promo code. Use the affiliate link. Help us out a little bit.
Yeah.
Give it a shot.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention they also have cold brew in individual cans, and you get yourself a 12-pack of the Invader Coffee original cold brew in the case, 12. So they don't have the OG blend in K cups, but they do have the Mexican chocolate.
Okay.
Yeah, which is Mexican chocolate is very good too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're gonna get to the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. We're finally talking football after 40 minutes. We're talking about our favorite athletes to award number 5, about food and a commercial, and now we're talking about the divisional round. First game is on, which is this afternoon, actually. This afternoon, Texans at Chiefs. It's the 4:30 start. I believe this is on ABC and ESPN.
I think you're
I'm not
right.
mistaken. I'm trying to memorize these before I get here. But yeah, nope. This is definitely this is the ABC ESPN game, because Fox has the nightcap, and then tomorrow it's NBC Peacock and CBS Paramount. So
Okay.
Texans Chiefs. What are your thoughts, Dustin?
Oh, I think my thoughts are, unfortunately, the Chiefs are going to come away with this one. I don't mean any shade, Chiefs fans, but you got to realize, and I dealt with it a little bit when the Seahawks had their little run and went to back-to-back Super Bowls. People were already getting sick of the Seahawks because of Richard Sherman and, some players that people didn't like as much unless you were a fan of the team. The Chiefs are in the same spot, so that's why I say that. But unfortunately, I think the Chiefs are going to come away with this not easily. I don't want to offend any Texans fans out there, but it's going to be tough sledding for the Texans. They've lost some offensive weapons. Their defense is going to have to play a game like they did last week against the Chargers and shift it. And the one thing that gives me hope for the Texans is the Chiefs did not score 30 points in more than, I think the Giants had more 30-point games.
Yes, you are correct. The Chiefs had 0. The Giants had 1.
Yeah. So, I mean, the Chiefs have not scored 30-point games in the regular season, but that's the regular season. Will the Chiefs be able to turn it on? I think so. And Patrick Mahomes just knows how to win. It's cliched, but the Chiefs players have been there long enough. They know how to win. And Steve Spagnuolo's had that defense playing very well for the majority of the year. So it's going to be tough sledding for the Texans. It would be a major upset if they won this game. I'm picking the Chiefs.
Yeah, last week on Tuesday's program, I apologized to the Texans. I said I was sorry. I underestimated your defense. I also forgot that the playoff Chargers are mid at best over the last couple of years. Over the last couple of years, and playoff Justin Herbert doesn't disappoint unless you put money on them. I think this will be close in the beginning. Like I remember last year, the Texans, they curb stomped the Browns in the wild card. We watched that game at your house. They mud stomped. They stomped a mud hole in the Browns.
Yeah.
And then the next week they traveled to the number 1 seed. They traveled to Baltimore, played a close game to the first 3 quarters, and then the bottom fell out, and it was over. I think we're going to have a similar. I won't question the Texans' heart. I won't say that they backed into the division again.
Yeah.
Based on what happened last week, D'Amico Ryans had that defense dialed up.
Oh,
They were dialed in. So is it going to be a repeat of next week? I think maybe for the first 3 quarters. But then the Chiefs will pull away because they have that experience. They have the better defense. They have more experienced players in the playoffs. And the Chiefs will go to their 6th appearance in the AFC Championship in the last 7 years.
Which is crazy to me.
Which is crazy. So I think the Chiefs win this game. It'll be close. First 3 quarters will be kind of testy, especially since the Chiefs. And my buddy KP noted to me at church on Sunday, basically the Chiefs haven't played in almost a month. The starters haven't. Like the starters, like Mahomes. Like Mahomes didn't play in the season finale. Neither did Kelsey. Neither did any of the offensive starters. Same thing with their defensive starters. So it's going to be a question of rust versus rest for the first half alone.
Yeah.
In the second half, we'll see that experience shine through. But this is the playoffs too. We've seen strange things happen in the playoffs. We've seen the underdog come just absolutely snatch the wig, as some would say, off the champ. I mentioned this last week with the Jaguars. They went to Buffalo, upset Buffalo. This is the 1997 playoffs. They upset Buffalo in Buffalo. They went to Denver, shocked Denver, who everybody thought was completely was just a juggernaut. And they were a juggernaut that year. They went in, upset them, and they lost in the AFC Championship against the New England Patriots, coached by Bill Parcells.
Yeah, we've seen it before, and I would be remiss. I would lose my cred for Seahawks sessions if I did not mention my beloved 7-9 Seahawks at the time, division champions, NFC West division champions, upsetting the Saints, the previous year's Super Bowl's champions, with one of the greatest runs I have ever seen, and it's one of the greatest runs in NFL history. I've seen it. It is known in Seattle as the Beastquake and the Run. Marshawn Lynch grabbing himself and vaulting backwards into the end zone, which now everybody does it. Big ups to Marshawn. Have some extra Skittles today. You deserve it.
He's only here so he won't get fined. Kevin Wilson from Belly Up Fantasy Sports joining us in the chat. He says the Chiefs play close games a lot. That line makes me nervous. I'm looking at the line right now on ESPN's page from ESPN Bet. They're favored, but they're 9.5-point favorites.
Wow.
Yeah, I'd be scared of that line too.
Yeah.
And he also says, I missed your talk about chips, barbecue chips at number 1. Go back and rewind. We didn't include barbecue chips, but I get you.
Yeah. We didn't include flavors, Kevin. This was just the ranking of the regular potato chip by brand. So flavors would have upset the apple cart for sure.
Yeah, it would have been throwing everything to chaos. We would have had to have a Royal Rumble of potato chips. So many varieties. All right, moving on to the nightcap of tonight, which is the Commanders at Lions, 8 p.m. start on Fox. I'll lead off with this one. I said last week the Commanders and Buccaneers were going to be the game of the week in the wild card. Turns out I was right. Rice Radames comes through once again. This week, however, is going to be a different story. I posted a meme in our Discord chat. Yeah, Dan Campbell versus Dan Quinn next week is going to be straight out of Madden. Yeah. 0 field goals, going for it on anything less than 4th and 10. No punts, just vibes. Yeah, this is gonna be a dog. This will definitely be one of the. I think this will be one of the better games. If I had to rank these games, this would be top 2 for me.
Okay.
This will be top 2 and another game we'll talk about in just a few minutes. Commanders, great story. Great story. I mean,
Yeah.
I think they took the leap a year ahead of schedule.
Yes.
I think I mentioned this before. They took the leap ahead of schedule because we didn't know how good Jaden Daniels is going to be. And we're seeing it. We saw it last week in Tampa Bay. But this is a Lions team. I think this Lions team could be a team of destiny. And I'm knocking on wood here because I kind of made them my spirit team for the year based on the fact that the Jets were god-awful. But Dan Campbell biting kneecaps once again. I think this will be a closer game than people will believe. Well, look at the spread. Lions are favored by 8.5. What's up with these lines? We are not a gambling show. So we don't do gambling. We don't do sports book. We don't do any of that. But this is a ridiculous line. I think this line is going to be closer. This line should be closer, I think, as the game get closer to game time. I believe David Montgomery's coming back. Alex Anzalone, we saw him in week 18. He's back in form so that he stabilizes that defense.
Yeah.
The one thing that the Lions have to worry about, especially on defense, is the Commanders with Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
They like to go no huddle.
Mm-hmm.
They like to go no huddle. So it's going to be a little bit, I want to see how Aaron Glenn, who might be the head coach of the New York Jets after this season. We don't know. He's expressed a desire to go back there. If he's called and chosen.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see how he's going to scheme against the Commanders when they go no huddle on offense. So that's going to come down to. It's just going to come down to how the Lions defense schemes. And again, this is a case of rust versus rest because they're the number 1 seed. They got to bye. They got a week to heal. As a Commanders team who's been red hot as of late, are coming to town to play them.
For sure. And no disrespect to our buddy D. Willie or my Uncle Bill, but I think this is where the Commanders' road could end. I agree with you largely. The thing that the Lions are going to have to watch out for is Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin have kind of developed a thing over the last few weeks where Terry McLaurin somehow inexplicably gets behind the defense and is wide open for a huge bomb. That's Terry McLaurin's game. But I think the Lions, first of all, offensively, the Lions can keep up with anybody. So even if the Commanders have their best game, the Lions have the ponies to keep up with them. And I do, and also David Montgomery being back adds another bruising dimension to their rushing game. And I think that's where the Lions have a decided advantage. Jared Goff, at the quarterback position, I would give him the advantage overall based on playoff experience and accuracy. He's proven that he's a very accurate passer. You can say what you want about Jared Goff, but he is accurate, people. Look at the seasons he's had in recent years. And he doesn't miss all that often, doesn't turn the ball over. Jaden Daniels brings another dimension with his legs and the things that he can do and the things that he can extend plays. He's looked amazing. So he brings a dimension that Jared Goff doesn't really have. Jared is mobile, but he's not Jaden Daniels mobile. But I think Jared has more weapons at his disposal. He also has more experience. And the Commanders have done a decent job running the ball this year, but not on the Lions level. I think the Lions are just going to have too much for the Commanders' defense. And the Commanders' defense hasn't played as well as they played in earlier pockets in this season. I think this is the Lions' game to win here. But it could be closer than you realize because Jaden Daniels has shown a knack early in his career for engineering comebacks and keeping games close. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, this is going to be a game to watch for sure. Our friend Julie in the chat saying, yes, David Montgomery is back. I just checked the injury report on Lions.com. He's full practice all week, so he'll be back. The only players who are out are Kevin Zeitler. He did not practice all week. And Pat O'Connor, he did not practice all week. One with a hamstring, Zeitler with a hamstring injury, O'Connor with a calf injury. Taylor Decker was full practice on Thursday. He'll be playing this game. But I look at the injury report for the Commanders, and that list is long, and they got some notable names on that list too. Zach Ertz, he's unspecified for the game. He'll probably play. Jamison Crowder, Bobby Wagner. He did not practice on Wednesday or Thursday, but he's listed as unspecified on the report.
Bobby will play. If he can play, he'll play.
Yeah. Marshawn Lattimore was full practice both Wednesday and Thursday, so he's playing. So it's just it's going to be a fun one. It's going to be a fun one for sure. Kevin also came back and says, "Okay, Ruffles rules." Yes. Yes. Team Ruffles, baby, going all the way. Sunday games, Rams at Eagles, Sunday, 3 p.m. This will be on NBC and on Peacock. The line for this game is Philadelphia, favored by 6. It's going to be at a very wild environment. These two teams have already played. I believe these two teams already played each other in the regular season, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just double check real quick.
I believe they did. Yeah,
they did. That's when Saquon ran for over 200 yards and couple touchdowns, and that was a Sunday night game. That's when the Rams, I think that's when the Rams last lost. Was that 37-20 Sunday night affair. Again, this is a Rams team has been, with the exception of week 18, with the exception of week 18 when they lost, but that's when they had their starters out. But after that loss to the Eagles, they won 5 straight. 1, 2, 3, 4. They won 5 straight. Won the NFC West. So this is going to be another fascinating matchup. We saw the Eagles offense had some trouble last week, especially in the second and third quarter. They made the proper adjustments. However, their defense was the bigger story, was the better story in containing Jordan Love. This is going to be one of those games where it's going to be one of those games where it's just going to be the battle of defenses again. I don't know how you feel about this game, Dustin, but talk to us about it.
Yeah, I mean, okay. I'm going to say most of my picks so far have been chalk. But if I was going to pick an upset, this could be the one. People who underestimate the Rams, and this is the only time I'm going to say this, Rams fan, because Ryan has talked about it. Some of you are very sensitive out there, extremely sensitive out there, but underestimate the Rams at your own peril. I did to start the season. I thought their defense would take a step back. We've talked about that many, many, many times before. Now, the Eagles, amazing team, amazing. Not to dismiss what Saquon has done, not to do anything to take away from the season, but the Rams could pull this upset off. I see the Eagles train possibly ending here, which is unbelievable for me to say. But Matthew Stafford, it's not his first rodeo. He's got playoff and Super Bowl experience, and he knows how to use a cliched term. He knows how to throw guys open. I'm not sure that Jalen Hurts knows how to do that as much, although Jalen brings another dimension. The Eagles have a lot of ways to score, and this is not to underscore. The Eagles defense has played very well, but I got to say there's something in me saying that the Rams could gear up for the upset here. Now, they would have to stop Saquon because, as you just said, he shredded them the last time they played. But Kyron Williams is no slouch either. If they can get the run going and then Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp start doing what they do, the Rams could be very tough for the Eagles. I'm kind of crazy, but I feel like this is the pick that could be an upset. I'm picking the Rams here.
Interesting. Yeah, this game is going to be closer than I think. This game's going to be really close too. This is a 6-point spread, which is really interesting for this type of game. It's high stakes. Obviously, it's win it, survive and advance. Always been the case like that in the NFL in the playoffs for the longest time. Win and advance. This is going to be, again, I think this is going to be a defensive battle. It's going to be a battle between the two defenses. Eagles were one of the top-ranked defenses in the league all season long. We saw that made evident last week when they forced all those turnovers off of Jordan Love, and special teams did too. The Rams harassed Sam Darnold last week. 9 sacks. Took away the run, harassed Sam Darnold to the tune of 9 sacks. We won't see that again in this game because Jalen Hurts is a lot more mobile than Sam Darnold, knows, and he has run plays designed for him where he can use the RPO. And the Rams did a great job last week of containing Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is not Saquon Barkley.
No, he's not. No, he's not.
Aaron Jones is not Saquon Barkley.
No.
So if you have an anytime touchdown, any degenerate gamblers out there for Saquon Barkley touchdown, anytime touchdown, I think you might get it in this game. Otherwise, you'll be doing this.
I am untethered and my rage knows no bounds.
Always Sunny in Philadelphia clip. So, but yeah, I think this is gonna be one of those games that's gonna come down to who plays better in the fourth quarter. I know you got the upset special, Dustin, with the Rams. I'm picking the Eagles.
Okay,
in the Eagles just because the home environment. I'm hoping that we don't have a situation like last week where we're a young lady wearing Packers gear was harassed by an Eagles fan, and that Eagles fan is no longer welcome at Lincoln Financial Field. But I have to wonder, too, if there's some more context to that incident.
Yeah, I mean,
that's just me.
Yeah, there often is with stuff like this. There often, you only see the video at certain times and all this stuff. But still, in general, it's not that serious, everybody. If I was to watch, the 49ers, probably my most disliked rival currently. But if I watch a game with a Niners fan, if the Seahawks come out on top, I'm going to congratulate them, walk away. It's not worth getting all riled up over. But I realize sometimes alcohol fuels things. And also some people are just some people are pissed sometimes. Mm-hmm. So, but don't take it so seriously. We love sports as much as anybody, but it's not worth throwing hands over. Come on.
Yeah. And I know Philly's a different animal when it comes to sports. I get it. And that was just a cliche of it. So
yeah. Snowballs at Santa, D batteries, and now Packers lady. We got a bunch of stuff. It's terrible.
It's too bad. All right, the final game, which is I believe it's a spotlight game for the entire weekend. Ravens at Bills, Sunday 6:30 on CBS and Paramount Plus. The line is actually the Baltimore Ravens are actually favored in this game by 1.5. That's how close this game is going. That's how close this game is. ESPN has the predictor. Talk about razor thin margins. They have the razor thin margin is this. Their matchup predictor, according to their analytics, 50.3% for the Bills, 49.7% for the Ravens. However, the weather is going to play a big factor. 17 degrees at kickoff, 6:30 in Orchard Park. Yes, I said it. Orchard Park, not Buffalo. We can play that game all day long. This is going to come down to one thing and one thing only. Can the Buffalo Bills defense stop Derrick Henry and stop Lamar Jackson? Because I mentioned on this program last week over the past couple episodes. We saw what happened in the 2020 playoffs between these two teams. The Ravens went into Baltimore, had Lamar Jackson. People had that vibe of, Ravens could go to the Super Bowl. And Buffalo just stomped a mud hole in them.
Yeah.
On national television. And just absolutely beat them down. Mm-hmm. This time around, in this playoff matchup, Lamar Jackson has some help. Yeah. He's got some help with Derrick Henry. And this is exactly why the Ravens signed Derrick Henry. Mm-hmm. They signed Derrick Henry for moments like this.
Yeah.
And remember, in 2020, in the 2020 playoffs, he had huge playoff performances, huge on the Tennessee Titans run to the AFC Championship. They didn't beat the Chiefs in the championship. They were kind of overwhelmed towards the end. But this is when Derrick Henry. This is when we saw Derrick Henry for who he was. This is when we saw, okay, this is how Derrick Henry. This is why Derrick Henry is now one of the best running backs in the league, if not the best running back in the league. If the Buffalo Bills defense, if Sean McDermott can scheme his defense, find a way to stop Derrick Henry early, get the crowd into it, the Bills come out on top. But if we saw what happened last week with the Ravens, 13 play drives, 13 runs.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry both getting equal time.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be, I think the Ravens will win. So I think it'll be the latter more than the former. So I'm going to go with the Ravens. If my nephew and my brother are watching, my nephew Christian, my brother Jeremy are watching, sorry, but not sorry.
Yeah.
It's my analytical brain, not my fan brain. I get it. But I think the Ravens will do just enough. This will be a close game, for sure.
Yeah.
Four of these games have the potential to be close games. Unlike the wild card round, which sucked. But
yeah, the wild card round was awful.
But this game is going to be the best. This is going to be the game to watch. I think the Ravens are going to show what they're all about. And I think the Ravens have learned from the last couple of years what they needed to do in order to get over that hump and potentially go. They could be in New Orleans in February.
Yeah,
it's going to be the game that shows us if they have the stuff to do it. And I think with Derrick Henry giving help to Lamar Jackson, that could be very well be the case. And start on Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I really don't have much to add to this, Ryan, because I feel very similar to the way that you do. This game has the feel of two prize fighters lining up across from each other, and it's going to be who throws the knockout punch first. Except the problem is, I think the Ravens have a little bit more power in that punch. Just a little bit, because you cannot overstate the dimension that Derrick Henry adds to this team. And also, for all of the play of Josh Allen and that he may have played himself into the MVP, you got somebody on the other side. You mentioned that 2020 game where the Ravens kind of fell on their face a little bit the last time they played the Bills in the playoffs. This is a different version of Lamar Jackson. This is a evolved version of Lamar Jackson. Everybody is heaping praise, and deservedly so, how Josh Allen has evolved as a quarterback, and he's taking check downs now, and he's not trying to do too much, and he's really cut down on his turnovers. The same can be said for one Lamar Jackson, who also has Derrick Henry in the backfield. No disrespect to James Dalvin Cook, who ran all over last week. I think he had like 78 yards at the end of the first half.
Yeah.
He was running the ball. He got it going for Buffalo. He gave them another dimension against the Broncos, and the Broncos defense, very good. But the Ravens just have more horses than the Broncos did. See what I did there on offense. And Derrick Henry adds a whole other dimension. And Josh Allen has lost some of the receiving threats that he had. And Amari Cooper hasn't really been as involved in the Buffalo offense as we thought he would be. Now, that could be a linchpin in this game for Buffalo if Amari Cooper has one of those trademark Amari Cooper games that he was having for Dallas back in the day and for the Cleveland Browns. I mean, he was amazing for the Browns. If he can do some of that and give Josh Allen a reliable target so that Josh doesn't have to try to do it all on his own and or throw a touchdown pass to the shoeless wonder Mac Hollins back there, the Bills have a shot, but I just don't know if their defense is up to the task of stopping who is disputably one of the best running backs in the league, paired with an evolved version of Lamar Jackson. I'm picking the Ravens ever so slightly. This game's going to be a prize fight, and I'm sorry, I'm rooting for Buffalo because They've been waiting a long time. I'd love to see a Bills-Lions Super Bowl. That would be a great thing. But I think it's Baltimore's game to lose.
So I have to make a correction for you there. It's Keon Coleman who's the shoeless wonder.
Oh, I thought Mac Holland wasn't wearing shoes either.
No, it was Keon. Well, maybe Mac Hollins was just also not wearing shoes just because he's just following Keon Coleman.
Yeah.
But I also make a correction for myself. It was 2021.
Oh, okay.
That the Bills beat the Ravens in a very the high scoring game of 17-3, which featured a 101-yard interception return by Buffalo's Taron Jackson in front of a capacity crowd of 6,772.
Oh man,
that's the Uncle Melvin year.
Uncle
Melvin year. Gross.
Yeah.
Hope we never have it again.
No.
But also don't forget these two teams met in week 3 or week 4. Excuse me. They met in week 4, and the Ravens took the Bills to task. They took them out to the woodshed.
Yeah,
35-10. Now, granted, that was in Baltimore, completely different environment. And that's when Baltimore was starting to get things going because they had lost to the Chiefs in week 1. They were upset by the Raiders in week 2.
Yes, that Raiders that was still unbelievable with Gardner Minshew at quarterback.
Almost lost to the Cowboys in Dallas in week 3, but then got together. That was the game they finally figured it out.
Yep.
At least defensively. And they beat the Bills 35-10. But I think that stat mentioned a couple weeks in last week's game against the Steelers about how the Baltimore defense, I think from weeks 1 through 10, they were 29th in the league. Ever since they've been climbing their way up the ranks, their defense has been much, much better since their coordinator. Because Mike McDonald was the head coach. Who was the head coach of your Seattle Seahawks.
Yep.
Was the defensive coordinator last year for the Ravens.
Yep.
So they figured it out defensively. So this is going to be a heavyweight fight for sure.
Yes.
All right. We have any more no more comments. All right. So we're gonna get out of here then, folks. So thank you for tuning in to No Credentials Required, whether you're watching or listening. We appreciate every single one of you. But don't forget to follow us on social media, facebook.com/NoCardsREQ, Twitter, Instagram @NoCardsREQ, youtube.com/@NoCardsREQ. Check out all of our stuff at bellyupsports.com. And on the podcast side, subscribe to the podcast wherever you podcast, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, iHeart, TuneIn, and Pandora. And don't forget also to get yourself notified. Hit that notification bell on Twitter and on YouTube. That way you know when new videos go up, when show announcements go up. You're notified properly. So we'll figure out time for Tuesday. We'll let you know. It'll be most likely on Twitter, on Instagram, and on Facebook. And on the podcast side, rate and review. 5-star rating would be helpful. If you're on a platform where you can review, leave us a review. We'll read it on the air. And if you're listening on Spotify, if you're watching on the replay, leave us a comment. We have plenty of comments coming through from the comment section on the live show. We want you to comment on our YouTube channel, also on Rumble, but no thirsty hoes, please. We're poor.
We are. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Hopefully not for long. All right. We're going to get out of here, but thank you for tuning in to No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We're presented by the Belly Up Sports Media Network. For Dustin Henry, I'm Ryan McCarthy. We'll be back on Tuesday. Time to be determined. We'll let you know. Again, hit that notification bell. That way you know when, again, that's when the show notifications come through. In the meantime, enjoy the football. Have a great long weekend. And we'll talk to you on Tuesday.
All right. Talk to you then. Good morning, everybody.
There it is.
This episode is brought to you by Paramount Plus. Gladiator 2 is now streaming on Paramount Plus. Rated R. Years after the death of Maximus, Lucius is forced into the Colosseum after his home is conquered by tyrannical twin Roman emperors. With the future of the empire at stake, he must find strength and honor to return the glory of Rome to its people. Gladiator 2, now streaming on ParamountPlus.com.